Now we're back and we're going to read some sport. The 37th National Athletics Championships for visually impaired people will take place on Saturday the 15th of June at the Mile End Stadium, London E3. Entry is free, and if you want information, please contact Alan Weatherly on 07958 078021. Over to Sonia.
Enfield Town are looking to arrange another 3 pre-season friendlies to help them prepare for the 2013-14 campaign. The Ryman Premier Division Club have already confirmed 5 pre-season games, at home to an Aston Villa 11 and Belgian outfit FC Beveren, and away to Haringey Borough, Potters Bar Town and Cheshunt. But manager Steve Newing is hoping that they can add matches to this schedule. However, he admitted that Town are currently struggling to organise the additional contests, as it is proving harder than expected to find suitable opposition. He said, "We're still looking for home friendlies on July the 20th and August the 3rd, and one more match either very early or on August the 6th. We managed to sort some games out nice and early, but we seem to have hit a bit of a sticking point now. Ideally, we'd like games against Southern Premier or Conference South sides, but it's proving quite difficult at the moment. We put out invitations to a number of clubs more than a week ago, but none of them has come back with a yes or no yet." Meanwhile, the lineup has been confirmed for the next season's Ryman Premier Division. The division has expanded to 24 teams, with AFC Hornchurch and Billericay Town dropping down from the Blue Square South, while Dulwich Hamlet and Maidstone United have been promoted from Ryman Division 1 South, and Grays Athletic and Thamesmead Town have come up from Division 1 North. The league season will get underway on August the 10th.
Enfield and Haringey Athletic Club enjoyed a resounding victory in the latest round of the Southern Athletics League in Ware on Saturday. The men were in particularly dominant form as they enjoyed numerous wins to help the club finish more than 40 points clear of nearest rivals Hearts Phoenix. Amari Barton Ellington triumphed in the 100 metres in 11 seconds, while Darren Corbin took the 200 metres, 22.3 seconds, and Patrick Carey came first in the 400 metres, 50.9 seconds. The trio joined forces with Romain Harris to triumph in the 4x100 metre relay, 45.1 seconds, and Carey and Corbin were also part of the victorious 4x400 metre relay squad, which included Michael Ski and Gavin Locke, 3 minutes 26.5 seconds. Locke enjoyed another victory in the 800 metres, 1 minute 58.4 seconds, and there were further men's wins on the track from Matt Hamilton in the 400 metre hurdles, 58.8 seconds, Ian Pearce in the 1,500 and 1,500 metre 4 minutes 3.9 seconds, Sean Collins in the 3,000 metres 8 minutes 44.9 seconds, and Alex Milne in the 3,000 steeplechase 9 minutes 38.3 seconds. Lucas Zambrzycki impressed in the field events as he triumphed in both the discus 35.02 metres and the shot 12.28, while James Scoss was victorious in the hammer 45.16 metres. Among the women, there were victories from Nicola Gilbert in the 100 metres, 12 seconds, Akeisha Smith in the 200 metres, 25.4 seconds, Michelle McNamara in the 400 metres, 58.6 seconds, Martine Baum, Catherine Foy, McNamara and Tanya Sarina Cyrus in the 4x400 metre relay, 4 minutes 6.7 seconds. Despina Aslam in the 1500 metres, 5 minutes 6 seconds. Helena Scotland in the triple jump, 10.55 metres, and Sarah Smith in the hammer, 43.08. Enfield and Haringey moved up to 4th in the table as a result of the win, with the next match taking place in Chelmsford on June the 15th.
Reigning Middlesex County Cricket League champions Winchmore Hill produced an impressive display with both bat and ball on Saturday as they romped to a 79-run victory at Finchley. Scott Newman, Tom Ludlam and Jim Gatting scored half-centuries as the visitors compiled 252, batting first, before the bowlers all chipped in as Finchley could only muster 173 in reply. "I thought that the way we bowled and batted was very good," said skipper Gatting. "The way the wicket was, how you bowled with the new ball, was always going to be crucial, and I thought we won that battle by a country mile. We had a plan as a bowling unit and we stuck to it. It was a brilliant opening partnership between Tom and Scott to set it up for us. Finchley bowled a lot better after lunch and we lost a few wickets, but I was really pleased with the way we stuck it out and none of the lower order gave it away. Newman, 77, and Ludlam, 50, took full advantage of some initially wayward bowling to post an opening stand of 143, and Gatting, 50, ensured that their hard work did not go to waste by holding the rest of their innings together. Hassan Khan, 53, played well during Finchley's reply, but he received little support in the face of some fine bowling as Hill overcame a below-par fielding display to ease to their first win of the season. Delaray Terreblanche, 3 for 27, Jamie Thorpe, 3 for 40, and Ryan Corns, 2 for 18, all impressed with the ball. Meanwhile, Enfield are the only team in the entire Middlesex League to have a 100% record after 2 matches, following their 102-run victory at Acton in Division 3. Tony Sayers' hard-hitting 76 helped Enfield recover from a 127 for 5 to post a total of 210 for 7, and this proved far too much for Acton as Leo Smith continued his stunning start to the season by taking 6 for 33 as the hosts could only make 108 in reply. But Edmonton are just 1 point and 1 place above the foot of the Division 3 table after crashing to an 8-wicket defeat at Wembley. A poor batting display saw them crumble to 80 all out, with Raj Amangama taking 5 for 16, and Wembley cruised to an 84 for 2 in reply. And Southgate also only have a single point to their name as they were beaten by 4 wickets at North Middlesex in the 2nd Division. Tom Edridge made 55 and Chris Blake contributed 48 as Southgate amassed 201 batting first, with Jaron Semper taking 7 for 53 before Alexander Hill's 95 helped North Middlesex to get 203 for 6 in reply. Steve Wadham and Tuan Haji took 2 wickets each.
Following the resignation of their long-standing first-team football manager, John Abbott, Enfield Town ladies are now inviting applications from anyone qualified and interested in filling the position. Enfield Town ladies are a well-established girls' and women's club. The first team compete in the Women's South East Combination League Step 3, and the club are looking for someone to take them on to a higher level.
Although they may not have their own wine just yet, the volunteers at Forty Hall Community Vineyard still have a reason to raise a glass. That's because they have just planted the 10th and final acre at the vineyard at Forty Hall Farm on the Forty Hall estate in Enfield. The dedicated team ignored some less than summery weather on Friday and over the weekend to dig in and plant the final 2 acres of vines in Warren Field. Along with an existing acre in the same field and 7 acres in the appropriately named Long Field, that makes up the 10 acres on vines in the 2 south-facing fields at the top of the farm. And while it means they are rather exposed to the elements, The good air circulation means the threat of mildew and other common vine diseases is reduced. The Vineyard Project has been running since 2009, with volunteers tending to the vines every Wednesday morning and from 10 till 1 on the first Sunday of every month. Forty Hall Farm is leased to Capel Manor College by Enfield Council, with the college allowing the Vineyard Project use of its land. Project manager Sarah Vaughan-Roberts says, "We first started planting in 2009 and Capel Manor College funded the first acre of vineyard. We have been helped enormously by the college, which continues to be a key project partner. But none of this could have been achieved without the hard work and support of all our volunteers. They're a great team." Sarah, who lives in Hackney, has a long background in volunteering and charity work. But it was only after gaining a diploma in vine growing at Plumpton College in Sussex that she was able to gain the necessary knowledge and experience, as well as making the right contacts, to turn her dream of a community vineyard into a reality. Since then, thanks to lottery funding in 2010, help from the Shoreditch Trust, as well as from elsewhere, and the vineyard's own fundraising, the initial 1 acre has expanded to the 10 acres there are today. There are currently no plans to expand beyond that, however, as Sarah explains. "We want to concentrate on what we've got," she said, "and get everything healthy. 10 acres is a viable size for a small commercial vineyard, and it's also a nice round number. Unlike many vineyards, which operate solely to turn a profit, the setup at Forty Hall was started as a way of providing volunteering opportunities for local people of all backgrounds. It operates as a not-for-profit social enterprise and will use any income generated from wine sales to support activities and initiatives which benefit the local community. Among those who have benefited from volunteering, there are many people from highly deprived and marginalised communities, adults and young people with learning disabilities, women's groups, youth charities, and others who would not otherwise get the chance to do anything like this. While last week may have been the busiest of the year at the vineyard, there is always plenty to do to keep everybody busy. The harvest time starts in late September or early October, and then from October to December there are heaps of tidying to be done. While most vineyards start pruning in December, Sarah explains that Forty Hall holds off until February to reduce the danger of frost damage. Then there's bud rubbing to remove any unwanted growth in the lower trunks of the vines, mowing, and weed control to be done too. The vineyard embraces an organic philosophy, and while Sarah admits that that can make it for harder work, she says that it's worth it. She says, "We made the decision at the time that things have to be organic, so no pesticides and herbicides. That's our philosophy, and while it does mean that things take more time, it's a lot better for the environment." There are plans to go even further and shift to biodynamic growing, while the vineyard is planning to use a heavy horse on the farm rather than a tractor. That will happen as soon as we have the right equipment, says Sarah. It's just a matter of finding the right bit of kit or making it. If that's the latter option, that will be down to farm technician Paul Granger, a very handy man to have around the place. Paul is also an expert in working with heavy horses and hopes to train others in these skills in the future. As for the quality of the wines from Forty Hall, that lies with winemaker Will Davenport, who has around 20 years' experience making award-winning wine at his own vineyard in Sussex. But if there's a good summer, there are hopes that Forty Hall Community Vineyard will have its first small harvest this autumn and will be able to produce its first few bottles of wine in early 2014. There are two different types of vines for still white wine at Forty Hall, Bacchus and Ortega. Both grape varieties produce fresh-tasting, aromatic white wines. The vineyard has also planted the three traditional champagne grape varieties, Chardonnay, Pinot Noir and Pinot Meunier. And there are plans to make a sparkling white, employing the same production method as is used in champagne. In the future, the vineyard hopes to expand its range to produce a rosé, and even, if the weather is benevolent, a Pinot Noir red. With English wine increasing in popularity as people look to reducing the food miles of what finds its way onto their dinner tables, now could be a great time to get involved at Forty Hall Community Vineyard. Who knows? You may soon be toasting its success with a glass of Enfield's finest wine. To get involved, email enquiries@fortyhallvineyard.com or call volunteer coordinator Sheila Barford on 020 8366 7511, and that's Mondays and Wednesdays only.
A lifelong North London resident who worked as a dressmaker until her late 70s has celebrated her 100th birthday with her family at a Hadley Wood hotel. Grace Kelly, a resident of the Five Oaks care home in Cockfosters Road, Cockfosters, was surrounded by members of her family as she celebrated her landmark. They gathered at West Lodge Park Hotel to mark her centenary. Born in Islington on May the 1st, 1913, Grace has been living at the care home for the past 15 months. She left school at 14 to work as a dressmaker and machinist in the rag trade in the West End. Grace met her husband, John Kelly, just before the start of World War II, and the couple married in 1941. They settled in Tottenham, where Grace worked at several dressmaking companies around White Hart Lane, and they had two children, Michael and Sally. They moved to Harrow Drive, Lower Edmonton, in the early 1980s, where Grace remained until she moved to Five Oaks last year. In Edmonton, she was known as the energetic chairwoman of the Silver Threads Old People's Club and a regular member of the congregation at St Aldham's Church in Windmill Road. Grace worked full-time until she was in her late 70s, and after her retirement continued to make dresses, including the one she wore at her 90th birthday celebration. The one sadness for Grace was that she was not able to share her birthday with her husband, who died 2 years ago at the age of 94, and her sister Jessie, who died in October, aged 102. Grace spent 6 months at the care home with her older sister before Jessie died. The family celebration, which took place on her birthday, was organised by son Michael and daughter Sally, who have lived for more than 30 years in Winchmore Hill and Palmer's Green. Grace said, "My family are the most important thing in my life. It was wonderful to have everyone around me on my special birthday." Michael added, "She's been lucky to remain mentally active and alert for such a long time, and she's still very interested in the family and what everyone is up to. She loves family celebrations, and we wanted to give her a special celebration, and she absolutely enjoyed it."
A community activist has called for a reform of police stop and search powers as he steps down as co-chairman of the police watchdog. Ken Hines, a youth worker and community consultant with police in Edmonton and Haringey, is stepping down from the Stop and Search Community Monitoring Network after completing a 2-year tenure. The watchdog is made up of community representatives who monitor police tactics across London. Police officers have a range of powers at their disposal to stop and search individuals, including suspicion of a drugs offence, carrying a weapon, impending violence and terrorism. Mr. Hines, who remains active as a member of the network, said that despite recent reforms, the tactic continued to create resentment within many communities. He said, My concern is that there are still way too many searches carried out on suspicion of minor drug offences, which rarely result in arrests and create great resentment within the community. Violence is the thing that is really hurting our community, but in order to prevent violent incidents from happening, the police need trust from the community and to act on real intelligence. At the moment, minority groups continue to be targeted disproportionately, and instead of a whole generation of youngsters becoming criminalised, the power needs to be reformed and directed towards tackling violence. In March, data obtained by the advertiser under the Freedom of Information Act revealed that the number of stop and searches in the borough dropped from 19,875 in 2010 to 17,319 in 2011. In 2012, the figure was down to 9,801, a 44% drop on 2011. Most searches were carried out under the Misuse of Drugs Act. Using this power, a total of 5,035 searches led to 333 arrests during 2012, just 6% of the total figure. Black people are almost twice as likely to be stopped and searched than others. A Metropolitan Police spokesman said, "We have reviewed stop and search policy, and in January 2012 we launched the Stop It campaign, a renewed focus on intelligence-led stop and search. We've seen some encouraging results, with the overall number of searches falling from 35,876 in February 2012 to 29,062 in February 2013. The number of complaints, allegations arising from the stop and search has seen a 22% reduction."
Hundreds of car fans are expected to pour into the borough over the bank holiday weekend for the Enfield pageant of motoring, which will have taken place by the time you get this tape. The organisers are hoping for favourable weather at the annual event, which is held at Enfield Playing Fields in Great Cambridge Road. This year the pageant will feature a parade of classic cars, the Jamie Squibb FMX bike display team, and a giant Megatron from Transformers, as well as a parade of classic cars. There will be vintage motorbikes, a fun fair with a wall of death, the Top Gear experience, live music and DJs, and hundreds of stalls. The pageant is organised by the Enfield District Veteran Vehicle Trust, which runs the Whitewebs Museum of Transport in Whitewebs Road, Enfield.
London Assembly Joanne McCartney has called on more people to walk to school and their workplace in a bid to tackle obesity. This week is National Walk to School Week, and the Assembly member for Enfield and Haringey has called on residents to step out and shape up. Walk to School Week is the brainchild of charity Living Streets, and it follows National Walk to Work Week, which took place between May the 13th and 17th. Ms McCartney said, "Walking is free, keeps you fit and healthy, and is a sustainable alternative to taking the bus. It keeps our air clean and our streets quieter and safer. We currently spend $2.5 billion a year on treating obesity nationally, and it is time we had a plan to get as many people as possible walking more."
We have reached the end of our programme for this week. Thank you for listening. So from the team of Jenny, Sonia, Phil, Francis and Keith on the controls, it's goodbye.
Goodbye.
Please remember to turn over the address label in your postal packet, put the cassette into the packet and return it to us as soon as possible in readiness for the next edition.